What is up, fellow renegades across the interwebs? Before we begin the video, as always, I want to give a big shout out to our most recent Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Extinction Team 75, Jacques from Wetterin, Lily Panda, Apprentice, Coma Blitz, Kid Cypher, Sea Raccoon, Aaron White, Gregory B, Fiat Voltus Mea, Joseph Dungan, Chris Andrews, Sean McLaughlin, Mariner, Boy, Mage Click, Snowy, Zachzon666, Cursing Throne 92, Ali Mocha, Duncan, Dimitri Theodosakis, Lily Panda, HEV Mark IV, Jesse the Educator, Austin Hall, Ethan Davis, Commander Nom Nom, Corbin, Ethan Kuyoth, and as always, I want to give a shout out to our executive producer, Bevan Brummett. Thank you all very much for your support. If you want to become a Patreon supporter, feel free to click the link in the description to find out more. We'll see you there.
Good job! See what happens? See what happens when you're stupid? See what happens? Ah! No! National security! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! No! Let me out of the box! Daddy, please let me out of the box! I'm stuck! Look at me! Look at me! Look at me! I'm stuck up here! I'm stuck up here! Look!
Nick, you once said that this was probably one of your favorite suspense / like horror movies.
Of the modern day.
Of the modern era. Well, yeah, of course. And you said that it basically like proved your point that comedians should direct horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree
I had
with
that theory because I'd also seen Get Out pretty close to that time, and then Jordan went and made Us, and I had my theory disproven a little bit because I didn't really like Us.
But then we went and watched A Quiet Place Part 2,
which was also really good, yes.
And I would say it's as equally good as the first one, in my opinion. And again, just overall, A Quiet Place. I remember when we watched that down here. That was one of our first movie nights that we had down here as part of this. We hold our
it's scary as hell.
Yeah, we hold our movie nights down here every now and again, and that was one of our first ones. And we did it in prep for A Quiet Place Part 2 coming out,
which we went and saw on IMAX.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
and it was a blast.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we were able to do that, and I am glad that we're able to do the kill count here, where we're talking about A Quiet Place. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be released on Sunday, which we are now going to allocate out for, like, spooky, scary stuff. Which, people called us out on that and said, oh, so you're basically wanting to copy Corey X. Kenshin's, like, Spooky Scary Sunday thing. I'm like, yeah, because Corey X. Kenshin's the first person ever to dedicate a day to horror-related stuff on their channel. Right? I mean, look, if you want to call it that, huh?
There's no way that somebody could just...
Well, no, it's just everyone... Like, again, it's like when we started doing mailbag stuff, everyone's just like, oh, look at these fat losers trying to copy Blind Wave. And Blind Wave actually came to our video and said, to the Renegades, we apologize for the people who call themselves our fans in your comment section who claim that you're copying us. They are not our fans. We do not associate with them. And if they call themselves our fans, then we don't want them. Mm-hmm. And basically, I thanked Blind Wave for that. And I'm still waiting to hear back from you guys on like some gameplay ideas and collaborations and shit like that. I mean, I'd love to work with Blind Wave again. I mean, because we played some Among Us together, and that was a lot of fun. And there's other games that are out now. I'm just like, dude, like, it would be friggin' awesome if we could play with you guys and just collaborate with one another.
I think it'd be awesome to get a whole bunch of YouTubers on fucking Hold Fast Nations at War.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. That would be friggin' awesome.
That'd be awesome to just have a big team of, like, all of us.
Yeah, just like 50 on one side, 50 on the other, and just go. Freedom! Well, yeah, but A Quiet Place holds a special place in my heart because when I first watched this film, I loved it. I couldn't hold back, like, just like my anticipation for like the second one after, whenever they finally announced the second one was happening. And also
is this the first time Kate's reacted to kill counts with us?
I think so. This is a new thing for Kate. Kate has never seen Dead Meat's channel.
Or have
before.
you seen Dead Meat's channel before?
Maybe. Have you seen Dead Meat before?
I don't think so.
Okay. So
Sorry.
no, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. And hey, it's James A. Janice, who runs this channel. He actually came up around the same time that we did, and he's equated quite the following. I mean,
Oh, ow.
much more than us. And I think it speaks to his work ethic and everything, and also the types of videos that he makes, that he just appeals to so many people. And also, he's just got a great personality. And James has always been one of those people whom we always come back to every now and again, and people are just like, oh my gosh, they're doing more Dead Meat, they're doing more kill counts. Yes!
He's honestly one of my personal favorite channels that we react to on a consistent basis. Him, internet historian, and let's see, I know there's at least one more. Probably Jontron.
Jonicus Tronicus.
Yeah, like I'm always excited to do videos by all of them.
But I'm excited for you to get into this with us, Kate, because kill counts are a lot of fun, because James always does a little does like great compilations of, and just like encapsulating everything together in a really nice package. And we were thinking about doing one of the It kill counts for Kate, just because of her displeasure and hatred of clowns. But I'm not going to do that to her.
Please don't do that.
Don't worry, you're fine. You're perfectly fine. Oh, I patted you on top of the head, and here came Collaborator, like, don't you touch my mama.
What are you
Anyway.
doing?
So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. This is Dead Meat Kill Count for A Quiet Place 2018. Here we go.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at A Quiet Place, released in 2018 by director and co-writer John Krasinski. Krasinski took a serious liking to the screenplay written by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, mostly because he had recently become a father, and A Quiet Place is all about keeping your family alive. Adding to how personal this movie became for him, Krasinski's real-life wife, Emily Blunt, co-stars as his in-movie wife. So if you've ever wanted to watch Jack Ryan and Mary Poppins raise a family in a post-apocalyptic world, this movie's for you. The dangerous world in A Quiet Place is inhabited by monsters who will kill the hell out of you if you make any noise. Thus the movie's tagline, if they hear you, they hunt you. Because of this premise, A Quiet Place is a remarkably quiet movie. Just look at the sound waves for the movie file in Premiere. Now compare them to the sound waves from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which came out the same year. Crazy, right? There are more flat lines there than a hospital with a power outage. It makes for an enjoyable, intense viewing experience that'll leave you seriously regretting that order of nachos. How many people end up getting killed because they just couldn't keep their mouths shut? Shh, let's find out.
Let's see what he's talking about there.
The movie begins 89 days after an alien invasion that's left towns like this one completely deserted. Amidst this silent emptiness, the Abbott family scavenges for medical supplies. Mother Evelyn, a doctor, knows just what to get for her ailing son Marcus, although she has to be very careful not to make any noise while she's grabbing it. Here you go, Marcus. Pills are good. Pills are good. The youngest child in the family is little boy Bo, and he's not as careful as his mom when it comes to being quiet. Luckily, he's got older sister Reagan looking out for him and keeping everyone not killed. Reagan is a deaf character played by actually deaf actress Millicent Simmons, who helped teach the rest of the cast the American Sign Language they use throughout this movie. As they're getting ready to leave, Bo walks up to them, and the rest of the family reacts like he's pointing a gun at them. Turns out he's just got a noise-making rocket ship toy that Father Lee has to disable by way of removing the batteries. Listen to your pops, kid. That toy's too loud. As the family leaves the pharmacy, Reagan tries to be a good sister and give Bo his toy back, telling him to keep that shit on the DL. Snitches get stitches, Bo. But unbeknownst to her, that little bastard grabs the batteries on his way out too. And so it's not long after this family starts heading back home, walking carefully along a sand-strewn path to keep their footsteps quiet, that things go wrong. It happens after we're introduced to a great feature of this film, the way it jumps between different hearing perspectives of the characters. Yeah, the movie's not
that.
afraid to go completely silent when we're hearing things from Reagan's perspective, and thus she doesn't realize at first when that rocket toy starts making lots of noise because Bo has put the batteries back in it. Lee bolts towards Bo in silent terror, trying to beat the creature he sees headed towards his youngest, but he doesn't prove fast enough, and right before he reaches him, Bo is attacked and killed by an alien monster. That's how you know a movie's playing for keeps, when it kills its cute little kid character in the first 10 minutes. Damn, man, I guess there's not too much to say after seeing something like that.
I can literally only think of one other thing I've seen where that happens.
Why?
Callie, I love you.
It's a very expensive piece of
But you are
equipment
going
you're hanging
to
out
wind up
next to.
breaking something, and I'm gonna wind up getting angry at myself, not at you, of course. 'Cause I can never
Like,
be
look
mad.
at my face. I'm too cute to get mad at.
It was like when Vega pulled my PlayStation 5 off the shelf. I was like, you better be glad I like kitties, asshole!
Just a quiet place. It's now more than 1 year later, and the Abbott family has done everything they can to adapt to this new way of living, including having a bunch of cameras watching over their property and reminding themselves of their circumstances with admittedly cheesy newspaper headlines and whiteboard musings. No, I don't think Lee would actually write, "What is the weakness?" on his whiteboard, but they've got to give us exposition somehow, and it ain't about to be through dialogue. In a matter of minutes, we learn everything we need to know here. Primarily, that the aliens operate on sound and that there are 3 of them in the area. Great. Although Lee's efforts to contact other countries with SOS radio signals have proven unsuccessful so far, we do see that there are other survivors in this world based on the beacons of Gondor he sees lit up in the distance. Lee makes sure to light his own flame to let those nearby families know, hey, still here. Haven't gotten killed by the monsters yet. Part of the reason they've survived so long enough to deck out their entire farm in Christmas lights, is because they've listened to that newspaper headline and are constructing the living quarters underground. This subterranean hang zone is being prepared in anticipation of a new
Turning it off?
Yeah.
Okay.
baby. Which, like, damn, Evelyn and Lee, that is a risky move in this world. You've literally got to be quiet all the time. How are you about to have a baby? #1 source of crying and loud poopy butts. But for many people, there's no point in living if you can't carry on the species. Thanks, evolution. And risking everything to have a baby is very on brand for this movie's themes of familial love and survival. In further preparation for the baby, they've created a breathing-friendly casket bed full of stuffed animals and are paper-macheing the walls in the basement to help muffle sound. Other than that, though, they're just trying to live normal lives, yo. Evelyn homeschools the kids, although I guess band is out of the question. She makes floorboard fish dinners, just, you know, can't have that skin too crispy. And the kids play everyone's favorite quiet board game, Softopoly. Huh, I guess it's actually not that hard to be quiet all the time. Oh shit! Lee puts out the fire, but they're worried the damage is done. Was that noise loud enough to bring upon the wrath of the Sonic Hunters? A noise on the roof seems to suggest so, but when Lee goes to check out the window, oh, it was just a couple of cute trash bandits. Can't be squealing all loud like that, little buddies, or else you're gonna wind up being alien food. Lee spends a lot of his time trying to educate himself about the human ear so he can fix up Reagan's cochlear implant. It's a lot of hard work, so he's got to make sure to take the occasional break and be a good husband by silently slow dancing with Evelyn to some Neil Young on their headphones. Good thing they've got Harvest Moon available and aren't just stuck with his latter-day Monsanto material. That would be a bummer. The next day, as Lee prepares their sandwalk and Evelyn listens to their unborn baby's heartbeat, Reagan tries to go into her dad's basement workshop only to be told no, she is not allowed down there. Lee tells her that she knows why she's not allowed, but I'm actually not sure. Is it because she'll make noise? I don't know. He tries to give her his latest hearing aid effort, but she's resistant because his attempts to fix the implant never seem to work. And sure enough, this latest iteration doesn't appear to have done the trick. Reagan is a headstrong little girl, and despite the dangers, she wants to come with Lee on one of his scavenging missions. But he tells her that she needs to stay home with Evelyn, and instead takes along Marcus, who is not excited to leave the safety of his homestead. Lee takes Marcus to a river to collect some fish, and it's there that he fills him in on a little secret. They can make small noises as long as there's something louder around them, like a river, to drown them out. And if they want to make big noises, well, waterfall! Chug, chug, chug! It's actually impressive how out of place human dialogue sounds when you finally hear it in this movie.
We're all right. We're all right. I promise.
In fact, the sound design, done by Erik Adeel and Ethan Van der Ven, sound editors who have worked on everything from Lord of the Rings to Transformers, has been nominated for an Academy Award. Sadly, it's about the only representation the horror genre got from the Oscars this year, because Annihilation and Toni Collette were fucking robbed. During the father and son's waterfall-covered conversation, Marcus asks Lee if he blames Reagan for the death of Bo, and more pointedly, if Lee still loves his daughter.
Of course I do.
You should tell her.
Because even though a year has passed, Bo's death still weighs heavily on everyone in this family. Evelyn takes the time to quietly cry in his old room, and Reagan, who blames herself for her little bro's death, sneaks away from home to visit his memorial and leave the toy rocket ship there. Only after neutralizing its sound-making capabilities, of course. A Quiet Place is as much a dramatic family story as it is a horror movie, and that's okay. On their way home from the waterfall, Marcus and Lee run into an old man in the woods who's standing over the body of a woman. The lady is likely his wife, and it looks like she's been eviscerated. I'm assuming she got clawed down by the aliens, or maybe her husband killed her, who knows. In any case, it scares the living shit out of Marcus, and Lee does his best to tell the old man to STFU. But the dude doesn't listen, and instead, after he eats his own chin, what the fuck? He lets loose a loud sound of anguish. Lee and Marcus hide as the guy gets killed in an apparent suicide by monster. Hey, to be fair, it seems like the monsters kill you quickly, so if you're looking to go out, might as well cause a ruckus and do it that way. Back at home, Evelyn's menial laundry work ends up being a forebearer of danger after she accidentally exposes a nail in the steps. That proves to be pretty inconvenient later on, after she discovers that her water has broken. As she heads downstairs to flip on a warning light, she steps right onto the newly freed nail. But thankfully, Evelyn is one tough lady, and she manages to stay quiet even as she has to pry her own foot free. Unfortunately, during this incident, she knocked over a glass picture frame, so after she makes it over to a light switch and activates the red warning lights they've strung outside on their farm, she goes to return upstairs only to find there's an alien in the house. And I don't think it's here to be a midwife monster. Evelyn thinks fast and sets an egg timer on a shelf and bloodily steps her way.
Ellie.
Get off the keyboards.
Oh, man.
Got it.
Just making little clicky clacky sounds, stepping on the buttons so I can tell she's up there.
See, she's purring up a storm. Listen to that. See if I can get her to.
Purr, 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 purr.
There we go. You need your nails trimmed, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's that?
It's a jingly kitty.
You hear another kitty? You hear another kitty down here? Is it Bilbo? Is it Vega?
What are you doing?
It's a Bilbo. There he is.
What are you doing?
Oh, there's a Billy Bows. Mr. Baggins.
Hi, Bilbo.
Mr. Baggins of Bag End. There's a good boy. Oh, look at that big chubby boy. Big soft boy.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay.
Come here. Bilbo.
Calm down. It's all right.
You got something on your eyelash, Bilbo.
Yeah, he does. He got a little piece of fuzz up there. Look at that. Look at this. Now we got two kitties.
Where's your kitty?
Around here somewhere. I mean, is he on the bed?
Mr. Kitty.
Vega.
Is the door open? Meow.
Oh.
Yeah, the door should be open because I'll have to
Listen
crack
to
on
him.
the
What are you doing?
He's like, I want.
Let me double check that actually.
Look at that. Yeah, because if it's not open, I mean, if it's open, then you know they can go back upstairs if they want to.
What are you doing?
Hey.
What are you doing, buddy?
It's open. Okay.
What are you doing?
Look at that. Look at that. You want down, girl? You want down? Okay. There she goes.
Well, see you later.
Stay off the keyboards.
She won't.
Probably not.
It's okay. They're tough. As long as she doesn't piss on them, I'll be fine.
No, she won't do that.
Thank goodness.
Hopefully. I'm just kidding.
Knock on wood.
Way over to
Potty
the other side.
trained.
Okay.
side of the basement to hide. The monster comes downstairs and, with its super gross super hearing, detects the ticking of the egg timer. After the alarm goes off, the alien freaks out and attacks it, affording Evelyn the chance to escape upstairs. Lee and Marcus make it back home and see the red warning lights, which sends them into a panic. Lee assigns Marcus to rocket duty so he can create a distraction and save Evelyn, who by now has made it into a bathtub where she's painfully awaiting to give birth, biting her tongue to stay hidden from the monster creeping up behind her. Luckily, Marcus doesn't take a long time, and he becomes a rocket man right before it's too late. The noisy distraction is seen by Reagan, who starts heading home, while Lee runs into the house with a shotgun at the ready. He follows his wife's bloody footsteps upstairs, and although she's missing from the bathtub, a cheap jump scare alerts him that she's now hiding in the shower along with their beautiful new replacement baby. Maybe keep the toys away from this one, huh? Lee carries his wife and newborn over to the maternity barn so they can deal with this baby, who immediately begins wailing his little baby lungs out. Yeah, you better get under that mattress hole cover, bud. But don't worry too much about the Abbotts. They're very prepared for this moment. Look, it's a baby in a box. The newspaper walls in their underground room work well enough to allow them to talk. So in her first spoken dialogue of the film, Evelyn tells Lee to go find their other kids and bring them back home to safety.
Clappy. Oh,
What's she doing?
trying to pull whatever this is off.
Oh, that?
It's your mom's.
Yeah, it's one of Mom's old jewelry things. Jewelry.
We can't protect them.
He promises her and heads out from their underground room, somehow not noticing that a nearby broken pipe is currently flooding the entire barn. Seriously, how do you not hear that? And what broke that pipe? Monsters, I guess? On her way back to the farm, Reagan is unknowingly approached by one of the monsters coming out of the cornfield. Although her disability prevents her from hearing that it's behind her, there is a reaction with her new cochlear implant that causes discomfort for both of them. The noise ends up being so painful to the alien monster that it runs away, and when the implant quiets down in response, Reagan realizes that she's got some monster radar in her head. I think, right? Is that what she's realizing there? She continues on her way and meets up with Marcus, so together they head to the top of the grain silo and light a signal.
I figured, I took that as like she
But
just
eventually,
realized
they
that
run
she
out of
just
lighter
heard
fluid.
something.
Huh?
I took that as she just realized that she just heard something.
I would say that too.
Because it's like, it wasn't pleasant, but she heard something.
Yeah. And I think that's better than what she'd been experiencing.
Yeah, and it's like I just heard a sound. It hurt, like, but I heard a sound, and it, like, you know, it wasn't nothing, basically.
Yeah.
So
she's like, I heard something.
that's what would be going through my head if I was deaf, and then all of a sudden I heard like a noise like that. I'd be like, ow, that sucked, but holy crap, I heard something.
Yeah.
Hey, it's something.
And although Marcus wants to stay there, believing that Lee will come for them, Reagan doesn't have as much faith in their patriarchal protector. Back in the barn, the broken pipe has by now flooded the underground safety chamber, leading the newborn Abbott baby to find itself in a real Moses situation. Even worse, one of those monsters is somehow downstairs now. So Evelyn has to very quietly grab her baby and hide behind this makeshift waterfall while the monster clicks at her to use its echolocation like a dolphin. Makes sense. It's like I always say, dolphins are the alien monsters of the sea. Before it can fully detect her, though, the argument between the kids leads Marcus to fall through the grain silo roof, and that noise distracts the alien away from Evelyn and the baby. It also alerts Lee to where his children are, and he watches as the monster runs towards the sound like a goddamn velociraptor. Reagan jumps down to save her brother from grain entrapment, which, like I mentioned in the jigsaw kill count, is a seriously scary way to die. Oh, also, fun fact that I really like, apparently the filmmakers spent their budget locally, including hiring local farmers to grow the 20 tons of corn needed for this scene. They also actually built that 70-foot silo and planted cornfields on the farm a year before production began. So they kind of helped revitalize this little farming area in upstate New York. The kids have
That's awesome.
Damn.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. That's
See,
really
that's
cool.
what film companies are supposed to do if they're shooting on location. You know, enrich the environment that you're filming in. Mm-hmm. But that like where
doesn't
everything's
always happen.
Well, yeah, where everything's filmed on lots and not on location. I mean, they don't do that much anymore.
boy drowning in grain thanks to a flat piece of wreckage that they both managed to get on top of. See, Jack and Rose, 2 people can fit. It's not that hard. Unfortunately, this whole corny mishap has caused way too much noise already. The kids shield themselves from the monster, who gets agitated over the feedback from Reagan's cochlear implant, and eventually gets so incensed that it runs away from them, tearing itself free through the side of the silo. Them monster claws be sharp, son. Lee gets over to the silo and finally reunites with his children, but after a brief check-in with each other, they hear the monster nearby, so he sends the kids to a truck that they have situated on a hill in case of emergencies. Lee arms himself with an axe, but he's too slow against the monster, who knocks him aside and causes Marcus to call out. The feedback in the cochlear implant gets to be too much for Reagan to handle, so she turns it off, inadvertently leaving them vulnerable to the monster when it charges at the truck to attack them. Lee gets back up and sees that his children are in jeopardy, but he knows that he doesn't have the strength to fight the monster off, and so he decides to do the only thing he can think of. He signs to his daughter that he loves her, in fact, that he has always loved her, and then gives her and his son the chance to escape with their lives. With that, the alien runs from the truck and charges at Lee, killing him with a swipe that the movie doesn't show us. This is one of those occasions where I won't complain about an off-screen kill, because we don't need to see this self-sacrificing father get torn to bloody bits. Marcus shifts the truck out of park, and as Reagan watches
Also,
the
that's like
behind
one of
them,
my
the
like
vehicle
top
goes
most
quietly
powerful
down the hill
scenes I've
and
ever
back to the
seen.
farmhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I was crying
I mean,
the first time.
he literally sacrificed himself
Yeah.
so that his children could live. I mean,
It's like I think the silence, like with all the rest of the movie, like just makes his like sacrificial scream like all the more impactful too.
Right.
yeah.
Sure.
Where Evelyn is waiting to embrace the kids with love and protection. That protection means keeping these kids alive, so they all head into the basement where the baby is still safe. And Reagan finally sees how much work her father had been putting in towards making her a new cochlear implant. Aw, don't cry, little girl. Not everyone can keep a neat workspace. With Marcus on baby duty, Evelyn is free to use the shotgun, which is about to come in handy since one of those monsters is coming downstairs. It approaches Evelyn and Reagan slowly, trying to detect them, and that's when Lee's ridiculous whiteboard notes come in handy for Reagan. She realizes that the feedback from her cochlear implant, while painful for her, is an even bigger weakness for the monster, who is brought to its crab-like knees at the high-pitched sound. Inspiration strikes Reagan, and she slams the device against a microphone to create a supersonic attack that cracks this venom-looking bastard's head right open, exposing the vulnerable flesh beneath its armor-like exterior and allowing Evelyn to put it down with a headshot. Oh, hell yeah! I'm not gonna put the alien on the count because it's not exactly humanoid. But that doesn't mean it wasn't a good kill, Evelyn. Keep up the good work. She's gonna need to keep it up too. Because remember what else was on Lee's whiteboard of exposition? The fact that there are 3 aliens in the area. And it looks like that shotgun blast has brought the other 2 running towards the homestead. But as we've all seen by now, the Abbotts are strong and the Abbotts are survivors. So the movie ends with Reagan turning up the radio in preparation for more feedback and Evelyn cocking that shotgun like a motherfucker.
Awesome. He always does something cool there.
There were only 4 kills in A Quiet Place, and the victims consisted of 1 woman and 3 dudes. Although that first dude was a real little dude. With a runtime of 90 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 22.5 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Bo. It's not particularly graphic, but it was obviously super impactful. Not only to the viewing audience, but also to the characters, who never quite got over it. Dull machete for lamest kill will go to the woman in the woods they found already dead, or the man in the woods. Since there was even less blood involved? I don't know. This movie's not really about the kills. And that's it. A Quiet Place was released in 2018 and has a sequel in development slated for May of 2020. I'll have another episode for you next week.
Well, we all know how that turned out.
Yeah.
Thanks, COVID.
Yeah.
Fucking asshole.
But
At least
until
we've
then,
finally
I'm
seen
James
it now.
Davies. This has been the Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count. I want to thank the people who helped me with the ASL to the numbers bit. That includes Zach, David Wheeler, Jet Valaire, Liz Zarb, Alyssa Dale, Krista Allen, David, and Jesse Cruz. I know my signing probably isn't the best. I've never done it before. But I wish I had learned it. It seems like a very practical language to know. Thanks everyone. Be good people.
Yeah.
Pet Cemetery has some like kills where the
Oh, yeah.
A little girl.
I'm wondering, like, again, Pet Sematary. I remember the first time I watched it. My cousin Zach, when he was a kid, looked exactly like the kid that was a resurrect.
No way.
1-to-1.
Oh my gosh.
And I remembered, like, my Uncle Richie could not watch that movie because of that.
Speaking of
Oh
pets,
man.
Yeah. He got to go feed Vega. So while he's... Yeah. So we're going to end this video here, everybody. So thank you all very much for tuning in. This was A Quiet Place Kill Count by Dead Meat. So until next time, I'm Nate.
I'm Kate.
We'll see you in the next one, everybody. Peace.